Flames were already crawling up the velvet curtains when Mia, the maid, burst into the billionaire's mansion nursery. Smoke choked the hallways, alarms screamed, and the entire world narrowed to one sound, the faint, terrified cry of the billionaire's baby trapped inside. Her hands shook as she shoved the burning door open, heat blasting her face like she had stepped into an oven. Through the thick smoke, she saw the crib, engulfed in orange light, while a shadowy figure stood near the doorway holding a lighter. It was the billionaire's fiancée. Her eyes were wild, her smile twisted, and her voice cold as she whispered, "If I can't have this family, no one will." The fire exploded behind her, and Mia had seconds, just seconds, to choose between running for her life or diving through flames to save the innocent child. And in that moment, she made a choice that would change everything. Before we dive into this unbelievable story, I want to ask you something personal. Which city are you watching from? Drop your city name in the comments. I genuinely want to know where my amazing viewers are tuning in from across the USA and around the world. And hey, before the flames, before the betrayal, before the truth that shattered a billionaire family, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It helps us keep bringing you stories that grip your heart, shake your soul, and leave you speechless. Now, let's begin. The night it happened was supposed to be peaceful. The billionaire, Ethan Blackwood, had flown out for a charity event, leaving his newborn daughter, Lila, in the care of Mia, the maid who had been with the family since before Lila was even born. Mia adored that baby more than anything. She knew her schedule, her lullabies, her tiny breathing patterns. What Mia didn't know was that someone else adored Ethan too. Someone whose love had twisted into obsession. Someone who believed that the only thing standing between her and the billionaire's perfect future was the baby he loved more than life itself. That someone was Vanessa, Ethan's glamorous, picture-perfect fiancée, the woman the world saw as gentle, elegant, flawless. But behind closed doors, she was living a double life, jealous, manipulative, and dangerously unhinged. When Ethan rejected her plans to send the baby away for a while, something inside her snapped. And on that cold, silent night, she chose the one thing that would destroy everything: fire. As Mia walked into the mansion unaware, her instincts whispered that something was wrong. She would soon discover a nightmare. And her bravery would become the reason Ethan's daughter survived at all. Mia always trusted her instincts. They were the silent alarms inside her chest, soft warnings she'd learned to listen to after years of working in wealthy, unpredictable households. But that night, as she stepped out of her small staff room and walked into the grand hallway of Ethan Blackwood's mansion, her instincts didn't whisper. They screamed. The air felt wrong. Too still. Too heavy. Like the house itself was holding its breath. It was nearly midnight, and the mansion should have been quiet, the kind of quiet where a baby slept, where the walls hummed low with the warmth of a home. But there was something else in the air tonight. The lights flickered, shadows felt longer, and Mia's heart beat with an unease she couldn't explain. She headed upstairs toward the nursery. Little Lila had a habit of waking up for a soft bottle around this time, and Mia liked to check early, make sure everything was perfect before the baby even stirred. Ethan trusted her more than anyone. She had practically helped raise Lila since the day she was born, through sleepless nights, fevers, first smiles, and those tiny coos that could melt anyone's heart. But halfway up the staircase, she smelled it. Smoke. It was faint at first. A thin, sharp scent, like burnt paper. Her footsteps froze. Her hands started trembling. Mia spun around, scanning the hall, trying to understand where it was coming from. Then she saw it, barely noticeable at first, a thin stream of smoke drifting from under the nursery door. Her breath stopped. Lila, she whispered, the name breaking inside her chest. She didn't think. She ran. Her legs carried her up the last few steps with a speed she didn't know she had. Each second felt like it stretched forever, like the hallway was getting longer and the nursery door was pulling away from her. Her heartbeat boomed in her ears, louder than the alarms that hadn't even started yet. When she reached the door, her fingertips grazed the knob, and she snatched her hand back with a gasp. It was burning hot. That alone told her everything. There was fire inside the baby's room. A ringing panic tore through her. Her mind raced. Call 911. Run downstairs. Get help. But there was no help close enough. There was no time. The flames were already growing. A few more minutes, or seconds, and the entire room could explode. She didn't care about her fear. She didn't care about the danger. She cared about one thing, Lila. With everything inside her, she lifted her foot and kicked the door. The wood cracked. Flames roared back at her through the splitting frame. Smoke rushed out, thick and suffocating, coating her throat like poison. She coughed hard, covering her mouth, eyes burning instantly. And then she heard it. A tiny, terrified cry. Lila. The crib was across the room, barely visible through the haze, the flames crawling up the curtains, the ceiling beginning to glow with heat. But Mia didn't move toward the crib yet, because something else froze her in place. A figure stood inside the nursery. Not a firefighter. Not a stranger. Not a burglar. A woman. Tall. Slim. Perfect hair pinned back in an elegant bun. Wearing a silk robe the color of wine. Vanessa. Ethan's fiancée. The woman the media called an angel. The woman Ethan planned to marry in less than a month. She stood near the crib, holding a lighter. Mia's heart stopped. Her lungs squeezed. Her brain refused to believe what her eyes were seeing. Vanessa didn't look panicked. She didn't look scared. She looked calm. Cold. Almost satisfied. Mia, Vanessa said softly, her voice eerily steady. You shouldn't be here. Mia coughed violently, choking on smoke. What are you doing? The baby, Vanessa, the baby is in here. Vanessa's lips curled into a smile, not warm, not polite. A smile that didn't belong to someone sane. I'm aware, she said. Then she flicked the lighter on again. The flame danced between them, a tiny spark compared to the fire spreading behind her, but somehow more terrifying. Mia lunged a step forward, instinctively, but Vanessa raised her hand. Don't come any closer. Mia froze. Not because she feared Vanessa, but because the floor near the crib was already blistering with flames. One wrong step and the whole nursery could collapse. Why would you do this? Mia choked out. Why would you hurt an innocent baby? Vanessa tilted her head, her expression almost bored. Because Ethan thinks that child is more important than me. Everything is about her. Her bottles. Her naps. Her photo shoots. Her future. Her voice trembled, not with sadness, but with rage. And when I suggested she stay with a nanny abroad until after the wedding, he said I was being irrational and heartless. Her eyes darkened. So I decided to show him what irrational looks like. The fire behind her roared louder, the heat pushing into the hallway. Mia could barely see Lila now. The baby's cries grew softer, hoarse, scared. Mia's instincts snapped into survival mode. She didn't have minutes. She didn't even have 30 seconds. She needed a way past Vanessa. Vanessa, listen, Mia forced her voice steady, calm, gentle, like trying to soothe an animal ready to attack. We don't have to do this. Let's get the baby out. You and I can walk out of here together. Ethan doesn't have to know. Ethan will know everything, Vanessa snapped. He will know that his perfect little world can burn just as easily as this room. Then she reached down, grabbed the edge of the crib, and tipped it. The baby rolled toward the flames. Mia screamed. Vanessa stepped back, ready to bolt toward the hallway. And that was the moment Mia moved. Without thinking. Without fear. Without caring if she lived or died. She dove through the doorway, the flames licking her sleeves, her skin blistering instantly. Smoke filled her lungs until she gagged. She crawled toward the crib, shielding her face with her arm. The heat felt like knives slicing through her skin. She reached the baby. Lila was coughing, weakly, desperately. Her tiny face was red, tears mixed with smoke. Mia grabbed her, cradling her against her chest, wrapping her shirt around the baby's head. Behind her, Vanessa shouted something, but Mia couldn't hear. The fire roared too loudly. The floor trembled beneath her knees. She had the baby. But now she needed to get out. And the only thing standing between her and the hallway was Vanessa. Her eyes locked onto Mia's, burning with hatred and fear. For the first time, Vanessa realized Mia wasn't going to die in this room. And that terrified her more than the fire. Because Mia knew the truth now. The whole truth. And Vanessa wasn't about to let her escape. The moment Mia burst through the burning nursery door with baby Lila clutched against her chest, the flames roared behind her like a beast denied its prey. The heat singed the back of her neck as she stumbled into the hallway, barely keeping her balance. Smoke billowed out, swallowing the corridor in a choking gray cloud. Alarms blared. Ceiling sprinklers finally burst to life with sharp metallic clicks, but it was too late, flames had already raced across the upper floor. Mia's lungs felt shredded. Each breath stabbed. But she didn't stop. Lila was wheezing, tiny, ragged breaths, her little fists trembling. Mia tightened her grip around the baby and staggered toward the staircase. Behind her, Vanessa screamed. "Stop. Mia, stop." Her voice wasn't desperate for the baby, it was desperate for control. If Mia escaped with the baby alive, Vanessa's entire plan collapsed. But Mia didn't dare turn around. She sprinted down the stairs, half sliding, half stumbling as smoke followed her like a living creature. By the time she reached the bottom, her vision blurred, her ears rang, and her entire body shook violently. She pushed through the foyer, each step heavier than the last. Just then, boom! A section of the upstairs ceiling gave way, crashing onto the staircase behind her. Sparks exploded across the floor. Flaming debris rolled down toward her feet. Lila cried louder, terrified. Mia lunged forward, using her last energy to yank open the front door, letting in a rush of cold night air. The sudden contrast made her dizzy. She stumbled onto the driveway, falling to her knees. She shielded Lila with her body, cradling her close. Sirens wailed in the distance. Neighbors were already gathering outside the iron gate, shouting, pointing, calling 911. The mansion glowed red and orange behind her, flames consuming the roof. And then, someone grabbed Mia's shoulder. She flinched, ready to fight, thinking Vanessa had followed her out. But it wasn't Vanessa. It was Mr. Harris, the Blackwood family's elderly groundskeeper. His eyes were wide with horror. "Mia. Oh my God, the baby. Are you hurt? Talk to me." Mia tried to speak but coughed instead, deep, painful coughs that made her stomach tighten. Harris carefully took Lila into his arms, patting her back gently. "You saved her," he whispered, voice breaking. Ambulances screeched to a stop in front of the mansion. Paramedics sprinted toward them. Victim of smoke inhalation. Baby exposed to heat. "Bring oxygen," one paramedic shouted. They lifted Mia onto a stretcher even as she tried to resist. "Wait, Vanessa is still inside, her voice cracked. She tried again. She started the fire, she tried to hurt the baby." One paramedic leaned close, placing an oxygen mask over her face. "Ma'am, don't talk. Save your strength. But Mia tore the mask down for a second. You don't understand, she did it on purpose. She began coughing uncontrollably. The paramedics exchanged looks of concern and urgency. Get her to the hospital, now. Baby goes in the second ambulance, oxygen, full vitals monitoring. As the ambulance doors slammed shut, Mia's vision darkened. But in those fading seconds, she looked toward the mansion one last time. And she saw her. Vanessa, standing outside the side entrance of the mansion, her silk robe barely burned, her hair perfectly untouched, her expression calculating. When she noticed Mia staring, Vanessa didn't run. She didn't hide. She simply folded her arms and smiled. A calm, evil, knowing smile. Then Mia passed out. Hospital, 3 hours later. Beeping machines. Bright white lights. Cold air that smelled like antiseptic. Mia blinked awake, disoriented. Her chest felt like it was full of fire. Every breath hurt. Her throat felt scraped raw. She tried to sit up but a nurse rushed in. Easy, sweetheart. You breathed in a lot of smoke. The baby, Lila, where is she? Mia rasped. She's stable, the nurse said gently. She's in the pediatric emergency unit, getting oxygen and fluids. The doctors say your quick action saved her life. A wave of relief rolled through Mia so strong it brought tears to her eyes. But before she could ask more, the door opened. And in walked Vanessa. Wearing a clean dress. Perfect makeup. Fake concern painted across her face. Mia, she gasped loudly, dramatically. Oh, thank God you're alive. Mia's hands clenched into fists beneath the blanket. Her voice wavered with anger. What are you doing here? Vanessa placed a hand on her chest, acting wounded. I was worried about you. I came as soon as I heard the firefighters rescued the baby. Mia's jaw tightened. You know that's a lie. The nurse stepped back, sensing tension. Vanessa walked closer, lowering her voice, but not her act. Mia, sweetheart, you must be confused. Smoke inhalation can cause hallucinations. You probably imagine things in the fire. Trauma plays tricks. Mia glared at her. I saw you. With the lighter. In the nursery. You tried to kill her. Vanessa froze for half a second. Just one. But Mia saw it. Then Vanessa's fake tears returned instantly. You poor thing, she whispered, touching Mia's arm. You saved the baby, that's all that matters. Let's not spread confusion. Mia jerked her arm back. I'm telling Ethan the truth. Vanessa's expression hardened, her mask slipping. You think he'll believe you? She whispered. You? A maid? Over his own fiancée? Mia's stomach twisted. Vanessa leaned closer, her voice venomous. You have no proof. No cameras in the nursery. No witnesses. Smoke can distort memory. And I will tell Ethan you panicked and accidentally knocked over a heater. Mia stared in disbelief. You're evil, she whispered. Vanessa only smiled. I'm untouchable. And then, a voice at the door. Vanessa. Both women turned. Ethan stood there. His suit was covered in ash. His hair was soaked with sweat. His eyes looked wild, with fear, exhaustion, and something else Mia couldn't place. He had arrived. Vanessa instantly switched personas, running into his arms, sobbing loudly. Ethan. I was so scared. Mia must be traumatized, she's saying terrible things, she doesn't know what she's talking about. Ethan gently pushed Vanessa aside. He walked toward Mia, eyes filled with emotion. Mia, he said, voice low. The doctors told me you saved my daughter. You ran into a burning room for her. His voice broke. I owe you my life. Mia felt tears gather, but she held them back. Ethan, there's something you need to know. Vanessa stepped forward quickly, but Ethan raised a hand, silencing her instantly. Mia, he said softly. Tell me everything. Mia took a painful breath. And right before she could speak, 2 police officers entered the room. Mr. Blackwood, Miss Kendall, one of them said. We need statements about the fire. Separately. Vanessa's smile flickered. Her confidence wavered. She looked at Mia, and for the first time, Vanessa looked terrified. Because she realized Mia wasn't the weak one. She was. And her lies were about to be tested. The truth was no longer under Vanessa's control. This investigation would change everything. The police escorted Ethan, Mia, and Vanessa into separate rooms inside the hospital's family wing. The hall outside buzzed with officers, nurses, and hushed conversations. Word had already begun to spread, the Blackwood Mansion fire. Billionaire's baby hospitalized. Possible arson. The community hadn't even heard the full story yet, but outrage was rising like a tidal wave. Inside her room, Mia sat curled forward on the hospital bed, wrapped in warm blankets, breathing oxygen from a small tube under her nose. Her throat still burned. Her eyes were red from smoke and exhaustion. But one thing kept her focused, the truth. She heard footsteps and raised her head. A friendly-looking officer stepped inside, notebook in hand. Ms. Rivera, he said gently, I'm Officer Daniels. May I get your statement? Mia nodded weakly. Yes. I want everyone to know what happened. He pulled a chair beside her bed. Take your time. Tell me everything you remember. She began from the beginning, the smell of smoke, the burning nursery door, the flames, the crib nearly being engulfed, Vanessa standing inside the room with a lighter. Officer Daniels wrote quickly, his expression growing more serious with every detail. You're absolutely sure she was holding the lighter? He asked. Mia's voice cracked. She wasn't just holding it. She used it. Daniel sat back, his jaw tightening. Is there any security footage in the nursery? No, Mia whispered. Ethan didn't want cameras around the baby. Daniel sighed. We'll look at the footage from the hallways and entrances. But your testimony is important. Mia swallowed hard. Will Ethan believe me? Daniels met her eyes. That depends. But I will. Those words gave Mia a spark of hope. Loudspeaker outside the hospital, public outrage begins. Meanwhile, outside the hospital, chaos was unfolding. Reporters swarmed the entrance like bees to honey, cameras flashing, microphones pointed at anyone who might speak. Neighbors gathered behind the barricades, shaking their heads, whispering rumors. One woman shouted, "Who sets a baby's room on fire?" Another man yelled, "If it was intentional, it's attempted murder." Social media exploded within minutes. Hashtag Blackwood Fire, hashtag Save Baby Lila, hashtag Justice for the Baby. Influencers made reaction videos. News channels cut to live coverage. A small protest even formed outside the hospital with posters reading, "Protect the child. No one is above the law. Arrest the arsonist." Vanessa watched it all unfold from the window of her private hospital room. Her hands trembled, not from guilt, but panic. She paced back and forth, teeth grinding. This wasn't supposed to happen, she hissed, gripping the edge of a table so hard her knuckles whitened. The house should have burned down before anyone got inside. The baby should have. She stopped. Her reflection in the glass stared back, eyes wild, hair perfectly styled, but the mask of elegance cracked. "This is Mia's fault," she whispered. "She ruined everything." Then a thought chilled her. What if Mia had evidence? She quickly dug through her purse. No lighter, it must have dropped in the fire. No robe, it had been removed by paramedics. No proof of innocence. But more importantly, no proof of guilt. A small smile returned to Vanessa's lips. If I play this right, she murmured, they'll think Mia imagined everything. Smoke, trauma, chaos, it's perfect. She dabbed her eyes with tissue, preparing her next performance. Police officer. The police questioned Ethan. In a nearby room, Ethan sat with two officers, his face pale, hands shaking. Mr. Blackwood, the female officer began gently, we want to understand the household dynamics. Has your fiancé ever expressed frustration or resentment toward the baby? Ethan's eyes flickered. He hesitated. Yes. The officers exchanged glances. Ethan leaned back, exhaling shakily. She thought I spent too much time with Lila. She complained that I was too attached. When she brought up hiring a full-time overseas nanny, I refused. Things escalated. How escalated? The officer asked. Ethan rubbed his forehead. She said Lila was a distraction. She called her a burden. Once, she said she wished things were simpler without her. The room fell silent. Ethan, Officer Daniels said softly, that type of resentment can point to intent. Ethan's heart dropped into his stomach. Intent. His mind replayed everything, Vanessa's jealousy, her cold comments, her fits of anger. But then another image flashed. Mia, carrying his baby out of a burning room, risking her life without hesitation. He felt a surge of guilt. I should have listened to Mia sooner, he whispered. She said something felt off with Vanessa weeks ago. Warning witnesses stepped forward. As the night went on, more people came forward with testimony. The housekeeper, Rosa, told police she once overheard Vanessa yelling that the baby ruined her relationship. The chef, Marco, admitted Vanessa threatened to fire him for giving Lila too much attention. Even the neighbor, Mrs. Winton, called police saying she saw Vanessa sneak out of the mansion minutes before the fire was fully detected. One by one, puzzle pieces clicked into place. None of it was hard evidence, but the pattern was becoming impossible to ignore. Hospital. Back in Mia's room, emotional truth. Mia was sitting upright, sipping warm water as her breathing improved, when the door suddenly opened. Ethan stepped inside slowly, his expression full of gratitude and sadness. Mia, he whispered. She blinked back tears. Is Lila okay? She's recovering, he said softly. Because of you. He came closer, his voice trembling. You saved her. You saved my world. Mia looked down, wiping her eyes. I couldn't let anything happen to her. She's like my own. Ethan took a deep breath. I spoke to the police, and to the staff. Mia. He hesitated. There are things you should know. Mia tensed. About Vanessa? Ethan nodded. She's lied to me for months. Manipulated me. She hid her resentment from everyone except you, and I ignored the signs. Mia's eyes met his. I should have believed you the moment you said something felt wrong. She shook her head weakly. It's not your fault. She fooled everyone. Ethan exhaled shakily. Not anymore. The truth is coming out. Just then, a nurse rushed in. Mr. Blackwood, you need to see this. Ethan, confused, followed her to the hallway. A TV was on in the waiting area. And on screen, Vanessa was giving a live interview. Standing outside the hospital. Crying fake tears. Acting like the victim. I love baby Lila like my own, she sobbed dramatically. I tried to save her, but the fire, Mia panicked and pushed me away. I'm praying for her recovery. I just want peace. Mia felt her stomach twist painfully. Ethan clenched his fists. The reporter continued, "Are you saying the maid's story is false?" Vanessa sniffled. "Trauma, smoke, confusion. She must be mistaken." The hospital waiting room erupted with gasps. But Ethan's face didn't waver. He whispered, "She's lying on national television." Mia felt dread and anger rise inside her. Vanessa wasn't just trying to escape blame. She was now trying to frame Mia. The war wasn't over. It was just beginning. The hospital erupted into chaos after Vanessa's live interview. Nurses whispered in the hallways. Patients gathered around TV screens. Reporters swarmed the entrance like vultures circling a fresh wound. Everyone wanted to know. Who started the fire? Was it really the billionaire's glamorous fiancée? Or was the maid confused from smoke inhalation? Inside the hospital, the tension became thick enough to choke on. Officer Daniels gathered the investigative team into a temporary command base in Conference Room B. Maps of the mansion, printed photos, staff interviews, and security footage stills were scattered across the table. "All right," he began, "we're dealing with a high-profile case. Emotions are high. Social media is exploding. We need facts." He clicked a remote. Footage from the mansion's hallway cameras played on the screen. Vanessa appeared, gliding down the hallway in her expensive silk robe, hair perfect, movements too calm for someone in a burning house. Timestamp, 11:47 p.m. Daniel zoomed in. "There," he said. "She walks toward the nursery before the fire is detected." Another detective pointed at the screen. "She's holding something in her left hand. Can we enhance?" The tech team enhanced the frame. A silver glint. Small. Rectangular. Metal. "Looks like a lighter," the tech said. Daniels nodded slowly. "This matches Mia's testimony." Another detective raised a concern. "But she's a billionaire's fiancée. Her legal team will argue she was lighting a candle or checking on the baby." Daniels replied sharply, "While wearing a silk robe? At midnight? Without notifying the staff?" The room fell silent. Then Daniels added, "There's more." He switched cameras. Now they saw the moment smoke first appeared in the corridor. It came from under the nursery door. Another timestamp popped up. 11:51 p.m. 4 minutes after Vanessa entered the hallway. "And look, she exits from the side entrance of the mansion," Daniels pointed. No signs of panic. No screaming. No attempt to call for help. A detective frowned. "What about Mia?" Daniels pressed play. Mia's silhouette sprinted into the frame, coughing, stumbling, clutching the baby. Flames burst behind her. The room fell silent again. "This woman," Daniels whispered, "ran through a burning room for that baby." Then. Boom. The ceiling collapsed behind her on the footage. Detectives exchanged looks. "She's a hero," someone murmured. "And Vanessa Kendall," Daniels said grimly, "has a lot of explaining to do." Fire Vanessa's interrogation, her mask cracks. In interview room 1, Vanessa sat with her arms crossed, pretending to be delicate and injured, like she needed protection from the world. Her designer dress, fresh makeup, and high heels looked absurd in a police room. Detective Ramirez entered with a notebook. "Ms. Kendall, thank you for speaking with us," he said calmly. Vanessa immediately leaned forward, voice trembling. "Detective, I want justice for Lila. That's all." Ramirez stared at her. "Do you normally visit the nursery around midnight?" She blinked. "Well. Sometimes I check on her." "You dislike the baby, correct?" Her eyes flashed. "No. I love her like." Ramirez interrupted, sliding photos onto the table. Photos of hallway footage. Photos of the lighter-shaped object. Photos of her leaving the house. Vanessa's face stiffened. Ms. Kendall, Ramirez continued slowly, you said in your interview that Mia panicked and pushed you away. But the footage shows you were nowhere near her. Vanessa's throat bobbed. I meant earlier, she stuttered. Ramirez leaned back, studying her. You also didn't call 911. Her voice cracked. I was in shock. And you exited the mansion, he said, flipping to another photo, through a door far away from the nursery. Why not the main entrance? Why not seek help? Vanessa opened her mouth, but no sound came. Her eyes narrowed sharply. Is this a witch hunt? She hissed suddenly. Do you know who my fiancé is? Do you realize how this will ruin me? Ramirez remained calm. Truth doesn't care about status. Vanessa sat back, lips curling. I hope you're ready for the lawsuit, she whispered. Because Ethan will destroy anyone who tries to frame me. Ramirez smirked. Oh, really? Because Ethan is watching this entire interrogation from the other room. Vanessa's entire face drained of color. Ethan watches the truth. Behind a one-way mirror, Ethan stood frozen as he watched Vanessa unravel. Every lie. Every fake tear. Every manipulation. His chest tightened painfully. He remembered when he first met Vanessa, 3 years ago. She was charming, polished, ambitious. She filled the void of his lonely billionaire life. But the deeper he waded into her world, the more he ignored the red flags. Now, watching her, he whispered to himself. I didn't fall in love with her. I fell in love with the version she pretended to be. Regret hit him hard, like a punch to the stomach. Then Officer Daniels stepped beside him. Mr. Blackwood, he said quietly, some of your staff came forward with serious concerns about Vanessa's jealousy toward your daughter. Ethan swallowed. I knew she was jealous, but I never imagined. He stopped. Tears blurred his vision. That she would try to hurt Lila. Daniels placed a hand on his shoulder. You can still do the right thing now. Ethan nodded slowly. He wasn't protecting Vanessa anymore. He wasn't afraid of scandal. He wasn't afraid of the public. He cared about one thing. Lila's safety. Fire Mia's room, the heartbreaking news. Back in her room, Mia sat alone, hugging her knees under the blanket. She stared at the clock on the wall. Time ticked by painfully. What if Vanessa lied well enough to escape blame? What if she twisted the story? What if Ethan believed her? Her heart pounded in her chest. Then the door opened and Ethan walked in. His eyes were red. His posture heavy. His voice soft. Mia. She straightened. Ethan? What happened? Is Lila okay? She's stable, he whispered. Breathing better. The doctors moved her to a recovery ward. Mia burst into relieved tears. But Ethan's next words shook her. I saw the footage, he said. I heard your statement. I watched Vanessa lie to the police. Mia held her breath. She tried to kill my daughter, Ethan said, voice trembling with fury. I know that now. Mia covered her mouth, sobbing quietly. Ethan knelt beside her bed. You saved Lila, he whispered. You're the reason she's alive. He paused. Thank you. Mia couldn't speak. She simply cried, her relief overwhelming. But Ethan wasn't done. I'm issuing a restraining order against Vanessa, he said. She cannot come near you or Lila. Ever. Mia froze. That means, she whispered. Yes. Ethan nodded. She's no longer my fiancée. For the first time since the fire, Mia felt safe. But then, the door burst open. Officer Daniels stepped inside, urgency in his voice. "Mr. Blackwood, Ms. Rivera, there's a new problem." Ethan stood. "What now?" Daniels handed him a tablet. On the screen, Vanessa walking out of the police station. Past reporters. Smiling confidently. And climbing into a limousine. "She lawyered up," Daniels said. "A very aggressive defense team." Mia's eyes widened. Daniels added. "And they're claiming you set the fire, Mia." Her entire world froze. Her breath stopped. Her heart plunged. Vanessa wasn't done. She had just launched a counterattack. One that could destroy Mia, and take Lila away forever. The hospital room fell silent, thick with fear and disbelief. Mia stared at Officer Daniels as if he had spoken another language. Her heart hammered so hard she could hear it echoing in her ears. What?" she whispered. "They're saying I set the fire?" Daniels nodded grimly. "Vanessa's attorneys just held a press conference. They claim you were jealous, that you wanted Ethan's attention, that you caused the fire trying to frame her." Mia felt sick. Ethan clenched his jaw, fists trembling. "This is insane. Mia risked her life." "That's the angle her lawyers are pushing," Daniels cut in. "They're painting you, Mia, as a dangerous, emotionally unstable maid who had a secret obsession with the billionaire." Mia gasped. "No, Ethan, you know that's not true." "I know," Ethan said immediately, placing a hand gently on her shoulder. "I know exactly who you are. Vanessa is pulling strings because she's cornered." But the fear didn't leave Mia's eyes. "Officer," she asked shakily, "do they have any evidence?" Daniels hesitated. His silence was the answer. Mia's stomach dropped. "What did she do?" Daniels exhaled. "Vanessa's team submitted screenshots." Mia blinked. "Screenshots of what?" "Fake text messages. Fake emails. Fabricated conversations where you supposedly threatened her, saying the baby should have never been born and that you'd do anything to protect Ethan from her." "No," Mia whispered, voice cracking. "No, I never." "I know they're fake," Daniels assured. "The timestamps don't match your work hours. The phone model doesn't match. The writing style is off. But the public doesn't know that," Ethan muttered, fury burning under his skin. Daniels nodded. "And Vanessa is using the media storm to bury the truth." Mia felt tears spill down her cheeks. "I saved that baby. How could she twist it like this?" Ethan squeezed her hand. "Because she's terrified of losing everything." But suddenly, Daniels' radio crackled. "Daniels, you need to get downstairs. Now. It's urgent." He stepped back. "Stay in this room, both of you. Don't open the door for anyone except hospital staff or police." Then he was gone. Fire. The hospital erupts with chaos. Meanwhile, downstairs, confusion exploded in the hospital lobby. Security guards, officers, and nurses crowded near the entrance, shouting over each other. Reporters pushed microphones through the glass doors. Cameras flashed like lightning. Vanessa had returned. Not quietly. Not discreetly. She had arrived with a full legal entourage, 3 attorneys, 2 bodyguards, and a smirk sharper than a knife. Outside, a crowd had gathered, chanting, "Arrest Vanessa! Justice for the baby!" But her lawyers pushed through the chaos. One attorney shouted to cameras, "We have proof the maid fabricated the entire incident." Vanessa held a tissue to her eye, performing her role perfectly. "She needs help," she said softly, pretending to tremble. "Please don't hate her, she's not well." The crowd booed. Some cried out. Some swore. But one thing she said sent shockwaves through the hospital. "I'm seeking emergency custody of baby Lila, for her safety." Inside the elevator, heading to the pediatric floor, Vanessa was planning to take the baby. Fire Mia gets devastating news. Back in her room, Mia clutched her blanket, trying to breathe through the panic. "Ethan, she's trying to ruin my life," she whispered. "She won't succeed," he replied firmly. "I won't let her." But before he could say more, Ethan's phone buzzed violently. He picked it up. His face drained of all color. Mia froze. "Ethan, what is it?" He stared at the screen, shaking. "She filed for emergency custody." Mia's breath stopped. "She's claiming," Ethan continued slowly, "that you endangered the baby, and that I'm emotionally compromised and unfit to make rational decisions right now." Mia felt like the air was sucked out of the room. "She wants to take Lila away from you?" Ethan closed his eyes for a moment. "She's accusing me of negligence, because there were no cameras in the nursery." Mia's voice broke. "But you didn't want cameras around the baby." "That's normal." Vanessa's team spun it as lack of proper safety. "They're trying to make me look irresponsible. And me dangerous," Mia whispered. Their eyes locked. Vanessa wasn't trying to win. She was trying to destroy. Fire the twist, a new witness steps forward. Just then, the door burst open. Officer Daniels rushed in. His expression? Shocked. Intense. Victorious. "Mia, Ethan, you need to hear this." He held up a tablet. "I think we just got a breakthrough." Ethan stood. "What happened?" Daniels clicked play. Security footage appeared. Not from the mansion. Not from the hallway. Not from the nursery. From the staff parking lot. Timestamp, 11:34 p.m. 13 minutes before the fire started. The camera showed the back corner of the mansion property, near the servants' entrance. There, clear as daylight, Vanessa appeared in the frame. She wasn't wearing her silk robe. She wasn't crying. She wasn't panicked. She was speaking to someone. A man. Tall. Wearing a hoodie. Face partially hidden. Scanning the area nervously. Ethan leaned closer. "Who is that?" Daniels hit zoom. Mia gasped. Ethan's jaw dropped. It was Taylor, a former staff member fired weeks ago for stealing jewelry, and someone who still hated Ethan. The video showed Vanessa handing him something. A small black pouch. Daniels paused the frame. "We believe she paid him to tamper with the smoke detectors, or help stage part of the fire." Ethan clenched his fists. "She hired help?" "That's not all," Daniels said. After this meeting, Taylor entered the side service door. Vanessa waited exactly 6 minutes, then walked calmly into the hallway near the nursery. Mia's eyes widened. "She planned everything," Mia whispered. "Every second." Daniels nodded. "And now we have proof." "But then," he added, "this is only part of the twist." He switched to the next camera feed. Timestamp, 11:52 p.m. just after the fire erupted upstairs. Vanessa reappeared at the staff entrance, running. Panicking. But she wasn't alone. In her hands, barely visible, was a backpack. Ethan frowned. "What's in that bag?" Daniels zoomed. Inside the bag was a bottle of accelerant. A towel soaked in fuel. Vanessa's lighter. The exact one Mia saw. Mia covered her mouth. "That's it," she whispered. "That's the proof." Daniels nodded. "And once we track down Taylor," he paused, letting the weight of the moment sink in, "Vanessa won't just lose the custody case." Ethan's eyes burned with righteous fury. She'll go to prison. Mia exhaled shakily, hope blooming for the first time. The truth was finally turning. But Vanessa wasn't going down quietly. She had one more move left. And it would hit harder than anything so far. Officer Daniels stood in front of Mia and Ethan, the tablet still in his hand, the damning footage frozen on the final frame, Vanessa holding the bag filled with accelerant. For a long moment, no one breathed. The room felt suspended, held by the weight of undeniable truth. Mia's eyes glistened. Ethan's jaw remained locked so tight a muscle twitched along his cheek. This wasn't just proof, it was the crack that would finally shatter Vanessa's carefully constructed world. Daniels took a slow breath. We're moving forward with an arrest warrant. She won't be able to touch you. Either of you. Mia exhaled, a shudder of relief leaving her chest. Ethan stepped closer to her bedside. You're safe now, he whispered. And so is Lila. But just as those words settled between them, the hospital alarms blared. A shrill, urgent tone. High-pitched. Piercing. Nurses rushed down the hallway screaming, "Pediatric emergency. Room 12. Ethan's face drained of color. Lila, he whispered. He didn't think. He didn't wait. He sprinted out of the room. Mia, heart pounding, tried to sit up, fighting the weakness in her limbs. Daniels steadied her. Let me check, stay here, Mia. But she couldn't. Not when Lila, her Lila, was in danger again. Ignoring the pain in her lungs, she pushed herself to her feet, leaning on the four-pole for balance, and forced herself into the hallway. The pediatric ward was chaos. Nurses huddled around the baby's room. Voices rose in panic. Machines beeped wildly. Ethan shoved through the crowd, and froze. Lila's crib was empty. Mia's breath caught. Empty. A nurse sobbed, she was just here. Just a minute ago. Someone took her. Ethan spun around, eyes blazing. Check the security cameras. But Officer Daniels was already running toward the monitoring station. Mia clutched the wall, her legs trembling. No, 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 not again. Ethan turned to her with a look of raw terror. She took her. Vanessa took my baby. Mia shook her head, tears streaming. But she's under police supervision, how? Just then, a young nurse stumbled into the hallway, crying hysterically. She pretended to be one of us. Ethan grabbed her shoulders. Who did? The nurse sniffled hard. A woman wearing scrubs, hair in a bun, she said she needed to take the baby for a temperature check. Mia felt her chest tighten. A bun. Scrubs. Silent. Calm. Vanessa. Ethan swore under his breath and bolted down the hallway. Daniels appeared moments later, panting. I have it, he yelled. She's on security footage. We're tracking her. Ethan didn't wait. Where? Daniels glanced at the monitor and pointed. Basement exit. She's still inside the building. Mia clutched the edge of a chair, steadying herself. Please, find her. Save Lila. But Ethan didn't hesitate. He ran. The final confrontation, basement hallway. The hospital basement was dim, lined with pipes and storage rooms. The air smelled of bleach and machinery. Ethan's shoes pounded against the concrete as he followed the faint echoes of movement up ahead. He reached a corner and froze. Vanessa stood at the end of the hallway. Her fake nurse scrubs half-ripped. Her hair messy now, her makeup smeared. Her smile twisted in pure, horrifying madness. In her arms, wrapped in a blanket, was baby Lila. The baby whimpered softly. Ethan felt something inside him crack. Vanessa, he said, voice trembling with rage, put her down. She cooed at the baby, ignoring him completely. "Don't worry, sweetheart. Mommy's here now." Ethan's fists tightened. "You're not her mom." Vanessa laughed, a sharp, broken laugh. "But I should have been. If it wasn't for that maid, if it wasn't for her ruining everything, you and I would have had the perfect life." "Vanessa," Ethan warned, taking a slow step forward. "Don't you dare hurt her." Vanessa's eyes flashed. "Hurt her? I'm saving her. Saving her from a world that doesn't deserve her. From a father who couldn't love me enough to choose me." Ethan froze. "Give me my daughter." "No!" Vanessa shrieked. "Everyone thinks I'm the villain. Fine. I'll give them something to fear." She took a step back toward a maintenance elevator. Ethan lunged. But she slammed her hand on the elevator button. The doors opened. She stepped inside. Ethan's heart stopped. "Vanessa," he roared. Before the doors could close, a hand shot out. Mia. Breathless. Pale. Weak. But determined. She grabbed the elevator door and held it open with all her strength, her body shaking. Vanessa's eyes widened in fury. "You again?" Mia didn't blink. "Give me the baby, Vanessa." Vanessa clutched Lila tighter. "Why do you care so much? You're just a maid." Mia's voice cracked. "She's my family." The elevator doors struggled against Mia's grip, but she held firm. And then Ethan slipped inside. Vanessa froze. Trapped. Cornered. Ethan took a slow step forward. His voice was shaking, not with fear, but with the deepest anger a father could feel. "You will never touch her again." Vanessa's breath trembled. "If I can't have this life, no one will." She lifted a hand toward a metal pipe valve, planning to break it, flood the elevator with scalding steam. But Mia moved faster. She tackled Vanessa. Both women fell backward, the baby slipping from Vanessa's arms. Ethan dove, catching Lila midair. Mia and Vanessa crashed to the ground. Mia's head hit the metal floor. Pain exploded through her skull. Vanessa shrieked, clawing, wild, her nails scraping Mia's arms. "You ruined everything. Everything." Mia gritted her teeth through the pain and whispered, "No. Vanessa, you did." Suddenly, officers stormed in. Vanessa was yanked up, screaming, kicking, her voice echoing through the hallway. "This isn't over. Ethan. I love you. I did it for us. For our future." Ethan shielded Lila's ears. Vanessa was dragged down the hallway, her screams turning into incoherent sobs. Daniels approached, breathless. "We've got her. She's under arrest. She's done." Ethan turned to Mia, who sat weakly against the wall, her breathing ragged. "Mia," he whispered, voice breaking. She looked up at him. "Is she gone?" "She's gone," Ethan said softly. "Because of you." He knelt beside her, placing Lila carefully into her arms. Mia held the baby close, tears streaming. Lila's tiny fingers wrapped around Mia's thumb. Ethan watched them, his daughter and the woman who saved her, his heart swelling with gratitude and something deeper he couldn't yet name. "Mia," he murmured, voice trembling, "you didn't just save her life, you saved mine too." Mia closed her eyes, overwhelmed. For the first time, she felt safe. She felt seen. She felt valued. Vanessa's reign of manipulation, lies, and destruction was over. Justice, finally, had begun. But the story wasn't finished yet. If this story gripped your heart, if you felt the fear, the pain, the injustice, and the relief when baby Lila was finally safe, then don't leave without supporting this channel. Your engagement is what keeps these powerful stories alive. Backhand index pointing right. Comment the city you're watching from. Backhand index pointing right. Hit like so YouTube knows you want more backhand index pointing right, and subscribe right now for more emotional, shocking, twist-packed stories every week. Your support means everything. Let's grow this family together. Thank you for watching.